News Day continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. About 5,000 OFWs were or are affected by the deployment impasse between Philippines and Taiwan. Recall that in May of last year, Taiwan had ordered to defer acceptance of OFWs due to increasing COVID-19 cases. Now, the POEA is still studying Taiwan's new pre-quarantine protocols, resulting into workers staying stranded as they await the government's decision. OCTA research member Professor Guido David says the surge in COVID-19 cases may be mainly driven by the Omicron variant. Speaking to us here on One News earlier, David said that the positivity rate of the uptick is much higher than that of Delta. He also said that the public's disregard of health protocols during the holidays may have worsened the transmission of the variant.
It's primarily driven by the Omicron variant because of the high reproduction number that we're observing in Metro Manila. The holiday season also exacerbated the surge in that because of the social gatherings and reduced adherence to minimum public health standards.
David also noted that the new cases are currently centered in NCR and nearby provinces. Thus, he said strict local border controls may help contain the virus as to not infect other provinces.
Local border controls are very important right now because, as we mentioned, the surge is happening around the Metro Manila area. It means most other provinces are still not affected at this time, and having strict local border controls will help prevent the other provinces from getting the Omicron variant.
2021 has been an amazing year for Philippine sport despite all of the challenges. Now, from the country's best Olympic campaign to young athletes making their names in the international stage, 2021 was undeniably a historic year. Let's look back at the 2021 highlights in sports in this report by Gretchen Ho.
2021. A year that will be remembered as one of the greatest, if not the greatest year for Philippine sports. In a time when COVID-19 hogged the headlines, Filipino athletes made their mark in the grandest of stages, beginning with weightlifter Heidelin Diaz, who brought home the country's first ever Olympic gold medal. The boxing team also improved the country's medal haul with 2 silver medals thanks to Nesty Petesio and Carlo Paalam, and a bronze through Yumir Marshall, marking this as the Philippines' most be-medaled stint in the Olympics. Several records were also broken this year. EJ Obiena broke the Philippine and Asian outdoor pole vault record. Caloyulo became the first Filipino to win multiple medals in the World Artistic Gymnastics Championships. Carlo Biado became the first Filipino in 27 years to win the U.S. Open Pool Championship, while golfer Yuka Sasso ruled the U.S. Women's Open Golf Championships, the first Filipino to win a major golf tournament. Rising stars with Filipino blood also ruled tennis. Alex Iyala had a successful conquest for the 2021 French Open Girls Doubles crown, while Leila Fernandez sparked one of the most memorable U.S. Women's Open runs in recent memory. Now, what's a historic sporting year for the country without basketball? Gilas Pilipinas proved that despite their young age, they can compete with some of the best nations in the world. Several Filipino cagers also made a huge step to take their talents to Japan. But of course, the biggest treat for basketball fans is the return of live audiences in the country.
And his opponent across the ring.
Lastly, 2021 is the year when Manny Pacquiao decided to hang up his boxing gloves. Despite retiring on a loss, Pac-Man has a career unlike any other. The boxer turned senator is the only 8th division world champion and the only boxer to hold the championship in 4 decades, one of the best to ever do it. 2022 will be another jam-packed year for Filipino athletes. And with a new year comes new opportunities to snatch medals and set new records on the world stage. Gretchen Ho, we are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The daughter of a human rights icon and Archbishop Desmond Tutu paid tribute to his father, who is called South Africa's nation or national conscience. Let's watch this.
Daddy would say, the love the world has shown has warmed the cockles of our hearts. And he then would say, I don't know what a cockle is, but whatever it is, it has been warmed. And since he was an English teacher, and if he didn't know what a cockle is, I definitely don't know what a cockle is. But our cockles are warm. We thank you for loving our father, grandfather, husband, uncle, brother, brother-in-law. Many of the messages we received have said, thank you for sharing him with the world. Well, it actually is a two-way street. Because we shared him with the world, you shared part of the love you held for him with us. And so we are thankful. And we are thankful that all of you have gathered in your many places in person or via the wonders of technology to be a part of celebrating Daddy's life throughout this week. And lastly, to him who has gathered us here, Udedi, Udata, we say, thank you, Daddy, for the many ways you showed us love, for the many times you challenged us, for the many times you comforted us.
The popularity of South Korean media like Squid Game and the boy band BTS are not just doing wonders for the country's culture, but for exports as well. Let's watch this.
South Korea's entertainment and content like Squid Game has been booming, and that's also luring customers to embrace the country's culture and cuisine all the way in the US. And that includes this ramen and also dumplings, as well as water purifiers promoted by BTS. Let me show you what they are.
So these frozen dumplings are called mandu, and Seoul-based CJ Jeoljadang is the company behind them. It's perfect.
Mandu became popular to BTS fans when the two members of the boy band said they were fighting over the Korean dumplings, and they even mentioned the fighting and mandu in one of their songs. Also, CJ's acquisition of an American brand Shuwan's helped the Korean company increase sales of frozen foods in the US.
It's $570 million in foreign sales of mandu in 2020, almost double its domestic haul. And Bibigo, its main mandu brand, partnered up with the Los Angeles Lakers for jersey sponsorship. Another company that faced a surge of sales thanks to K-pop's popularity is a Korean water purifier maker Koe that used BTS to advertise its products. Koe reported record sales for the third quarter, driven by 43% growth in Malaysia and 12% in the US.
Now I'm gonna cook chapaguri, which was featured in the movie Parasite. So what I've just made is a mix of two noodle products, chapaguri and noguri. And this might look familiar to you if you watched the movie Parasite. The instant noodle maker Nongsim stock price surged after one of the female characters cooked this.
The company's overseas sales jumped 24% year-on-year in 2020 to $990 million after the movie received the Academy Award and became really credited for helping introduce Korean cinema to new audiences. And it also resonated home with a 60% surge in domestic sales in the 3 days following the Oscar win.
Dalgona used to be one of the favorite snacks of Korean school children after the Korean War. The sugar candy is resurging in popularity after Squid Game's competitors had trouble cutting it into shapes.
South Korea exported around $4.3 billion worth of food in 2020 to the world. And that's the largest ever since the country was established, according to the government data. Could the food be the next phase of the global K-wave?
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later again at 12 noon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.